Chapter 1. The White Room. She didn't fall asleep. Sleep abandoned her first. Her body lay still, heavy against the bed, but her mind kept drifting through half-felt memories, unspoken words, and emotions she had folded neatly inside herself for years. The room around her felt too quiet, as if the world was holding its breath. Then the quiet broke, not with sound, but with light. She opened her eyes and found herself standing in a white room. Not a comforting white, no warmth, no softness, but a vast, endless white that erased all sense of time and direction. There were no doors, no windows, no corners to hide in. The air felt clean yet suffocating, like silence pressed into a shape. And in front of her, a mirror. Tall, seamless, unforgiving. She stepped closer, heart cautious, as if the glass might speak before she was ready to listen. Her reflection stared back at her exactly as she was tired eyes, carrying years of restraint, shoulders strong from carrying too much alone, lips curved into a smile practiced so often it had forgotten how to be real. Relief washed over her. At least she recognized herself. Then the mirror shifted. The image trembled as if the glass were breathing. Her reflection didn't disappear, but transformed. The woman staring back now stood taller. Her posture was unguarded. Her eyes were calm, steady, untouched by the fear that lived so deeply in her own chest. This version didn't look braver. She looked free. The room grew heavier. The air thickened until each breath felt earned. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice barely surviving the silence. The reflection met her gaze without flinching. "I'm who you would be," it said gently, "if you stopped betraying yourself." Something cracked inside her. Her chest burned as the mirror filled with moving images, moments she had buried. Justified excuse, every time she stayed quiet to keep the peace. Every time she accepted less than she deserved. Every time she said it's okay, when her soul was screaming that it wasn't. Tears blurred her vision. "I was just trying to survive," she whispered. "I know," the reflection replied softly. "But you don't live there anymore." The mirror began to crack. White fractures spread across the glass like lightning, the room trembling as if responding to a choice she hadn't made yet but could no longer avoid. Her hands shook as she reached forward, not to fix herself, but to choose. Chapter 2. Shadows of the Past. The moment her fingers brushed the cracked glass, the room seemed to ripple. Suddenly, she was no longer in the white room, but somewhere else entirely. The mirror's reflection pulled her backward, into shadows of her own life. She saw herself again, years younger, standing in the middle of a crowded classroom. A joke had been made at her expense, laughter echoing like shards in her chest. She had forced a smile, bowed her head, and said nothing. She had laughed quietly, swallowing the sting, hiding the hurt even from herself. Then the next scene, a meeting at work. Her hand raised, a brilliant idea ready to fly. But when she spoke, her voice faltered. Her colleagues moved on, her idea lost in silence. She had nodded politely, hiding the disappointment that burned inside. A third memory, her home. She had said yes to yet another request she didn't want to grant. Her body had tightened, her stomach twisted, but she smiled. "It's okay," she had said, and it had never been okay. Each memory hit her like cold water. She realized how often she had chosen survival over truth, peace over herself, others' comfort over her own heart. The weight of it pressed down, heavier than the white room ever could. She trembled. "I was only trying to survive," she whispered, the words tasting like ashes on her tongue. The mirror's voice echoed softly inside her mind. Not in sound, but in certainty. "I know, but look at what you've lost by hiding. Look at who you could have been if you had spoken. If you had reached, if you had trusted yourself." Tears ran freely now, hot and unrelenting. She didn't just see her past, she felt it all at once. The fear, the regret, the silent despair. And behind it all, a faint, quiet voice that had been there all along. The version of her that had been waiting to step forward. The white room hummed faintly. and the cracks in the mirror began to glow, pulsing like a heartbeat. She realized then, these shadows weren't here to punish her. They were here to show her, to remind her that survival had kept her alive, but it had never let her live. Her hands still hovered over the mirror. Her chest burned with something new, not fear, not regret, but possibility. She wanted to step forward. She wanted to reach through. She just didn't yet know how. Chapter 3. The Other. Her. The white room returned, but it was different now. The air hummed softly, alive as if waiting. She stood before the mirror once more, trembling. The cracks from before had spread, faintly glowing like veins of light. And there she was, the other, taller, calm, radiant with a quiet certainty she had never known in her own body. "I've been waiting," the reflection said. Not cruel, not distant, but patient, like the tide that always returns. "Waiting. For what?" she whispered, her voice barely steady. "To remember," the other her replied. "To remember who you are beneath all the fear, all the compromises, all the silences." Her chest tightened. I don't know if I can't. I've spent so long hiding, even from myself." The reflection's gaze softened. "You've hidden because you were scared, but hiding never freed you. It only kept you small. And now, it's time to grow." Suddenly, the mirror shimmered, and new images appeared, not memories this time, but possibilities. Her speaking up in a meeting and people listening. Her saying no and feeling the weight lift from her chest. Her standing alone, unafraid, smiling with a quiet joy she had never allowed herself. Each vision made her stomach twist with fear and longing. I don't know if I'm strong enough," she admitted, tears blurring the glowing cracks. "You've always been strong," the other her said gently. "You just refused to believe it. You survived every moment that should have broken you. That is strength, but surviving is not enough. You deserve to live." Her hands hovered again, trembling close to the mirror. She wanted to touch it, to merge with the strength she saw reflected back, but doubt pulled her away. "Strength isn't about never breaking," the reflection whispered. "It's about standing up, even when every part of you wants to turn away. It's about choosing yourself every single time. And I'm here to remind you that you can." For the first time, she felt a spark, tiny, fragile, but undeniable. The cracks in the mirror pulsed brighter, and the white room hummed louder. She realized then, this other version of herself was not a stranger, not a ghost, not a threat. She was the self she had abandoned. And if she could reach her, truly reach her, she could step into a life she had only dared to dream of. Chapter 4. Fractured Reflections. The white room shivered. Shards of the mirror glowed violently now, lines of light jagged and unpredictable. She stared at her reflection, the other her, but fear clung to her like a second skin. "I'm not ready. I can't." Her chest ached as memories surged. Uninvited, moments she had failed, words she had swallowed, times she had given everything to everyone else but herself. Every choice that had kept her safe now felt like a chain. "I can't," she whispered, shaking. "I'm not enough. I'll never be enough." The other her stepped closer, serene, untouchable, yet warmer than the room could hold. "Enough isn't given. Enough is chosen. Every act of courage, no matter how small, proves it. You have chosen survival for too long. Now it is time to choose life." The cracks in the mirror widened, splintering like lightning across her vision. Each fracture reflected not only her face, but also all the fear she had, carried doubt, guilt, shame. She wanted to turn away, to run back to the comfort of hiding. But the other hurt's voice pierced through. "You will never be free if you keep running from yourself. You are not the girl who stayed silent. You are the woman who can rise. You already are rising. You just have to reach." Tears blurred her eyes, and for the first time, she let herself feel the full weight of every suppressed emotion, anger, sadness, regret, fear, all tangled together. And then pain. Pure, searing pain, not from the past, but from knowing how long she had abandoned herself. Her hands hovered over the fractured glass. Her fingers trembled, hovering between fear and choice. "Step forward," the reflection whispered, her voice soft but unyielding. "Step forward or remain a shadow forever." The cracks pulsed with a heartbeat of their own. The room shook, and in that moment, something inside her broke. The part of her that believed she was too small, too weak, too lost. She didn't step back. She reached forward. Chapter 5. The Choice. The moment her fingers touched the fractured glass, the world shattered. Not violently, not painfully, but completely. The mirror didn't resist her touch. It welcomed it. The cracks dissolved into light, spreading outward like waves across water. The white room began to fade, its walls loosening, its silence breaking into something softer, almost warm. Her breath caught. For a heartbeat, she felt everything at once, the fear she had carried for years, the grief of all she had lost by staying silent, the exhaustion of surviving instead of living. It pressed into her chest until she thought she might collapse beneath it. "I'm scared," she whispered. The other her stepped forward, so close now that there was no glass between them. No distance, no separation. "I know," she said gently. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing yourself anyway." Light spilled through the room, wrapping around them both. The two versions of her stood face to face, one trembling, one steady, yet somehow they were the same. "You don't have to be perfect," the other her continued. "You don't have to be fearless. You only have to stop abandoning yourself." Tears streamed freely now, but they no longer felt heavy. They felt honest. Slowly, she took a step forward, then another. The moment she crossed the invisible space between them, something inside her shifted. The calm of the other her flowed into her chest, filling the empty spaces fear had carved out. The strength she had admired was no longer distant, it was hers. The room pulsed once, like a final breath, and then she woke up, gasping, heart racing, chest tight, breath uneven. The darkness of her bedroom wrapped around her, real and grounding, but the feeling remained. A quiet fire burned inside her, not destructive, but alive. She pressed a hand to her chest, steadying herself. One truth echoed through her, clear and unshakable. You don't become better by wishing. You become better the moment you stop abandoning yourself. Chapter 6. The Mirror That Breathed. She thought the escape was over. She was wrong. The world shifted again, not violently this time, but softly, like a breath taken by something ancient. The sky folded inward, colors melting into a quiet silver dusk. The ground beneath her feet turned smooth, reflective, like glass warmed by a living pulse. And then she saw it. A mirror. Not standing floating, suspended in the air as if the world itself was holding it steady. Its surface shimmered, not with her reflection, but with movement, like memories swimming just beneath water. She stepped closer. The mirror breathed. Each inhale dimmed the light around it. Each exhale sent ripples through her chest, syncing with her heartbeat. Her palms tingled. The same sensation she had felt before, when the world first began remembering her. Slowly, the mirror cleared. She was there, but not as she was now. This version of her stood taller. Eyes calm, spine straight. Light radiating not from her chest, but from her silence. She did not look afraid. She did not look lost. She looked free. A crack appeared down the center of the mirror, glowing gold, splitting the image into two realities. On one side, every fear she had ever carried. Every moment she chose silence over truth. Every time, she became smaller so the world would feel comfortable. On the other side, what she could become if she stopped running. "You can't escape me," the mirror version said softly. Her voice wasn't spoken, it was felt. Tears welled up before she realized why. "Because I'm not chasing you," the reflection continued. "I'm waiting." The air trembled. Behind her, footsteps echoed, not footsteps of another being, but of time itself closing in. The world was asking for a choice. The mirror began to fracture. If it shattered completely, she would forget. If she stepped forward, she would remember everything. Her hand rose on its own, fingers trembling not with fear, but with recognition. As her skin touched the mirror, the crack exploded into light, and the world inhaled sharply. Because Chapter 6 was never about escape, it was about acceptance. Chapter 7. When the world spoke her name, the light did not blind her. It entered her. Not like fire, not like lightning, like remembrance. The mirror did not shatter outward. It dissolved into her skin, into her veins, into the quiet spaces she had tried so hard to ignore. Every version of herself she had hidden. Every silent scream, every almost choice, came rushing back like a river breaking through a forgotten dam. She fell to her knees, but this time she did not feel weak. She felt full. The ground beneath her cracked open, not in destruction, but in revelation. Roots of golden light spread outward beneath the glass-like earth, forming symbols she somehow understood without learning. Her name, written in light, not the name the world called her, not the name tied to expectations. Her true name. It echoed through the sky, not as sound, but as vibration. The clouds shifted. The stars bent closer. Even the silence leaned in, and then the darker version of her stepped forward from the fading edge of the old world. But she was no longer dark. The storm had left her eyes. "You were never meant to escape me," she said gently. "I was the part of you that survived." The brighter version stepped forward too, no longer separate. "I am the part of you that rises." The two versions looked at her, not as enemies, not as opposites, as pieces. She understood now. Escape was never the goal. Integration was. Her chest began to glow. Not blinding gold, not violent light, but steady, warm, alive. A pulse that matched the rhythm of the universe itself. The sky cracked open one last time, and from above a single word descended like a blessing. "Awaken." The world spoke her name again. "This time," she answered. And when she did, the landscape shifted into something entirely new. Not storm, not cosmos, a doorway, waiting. Chapter 8. The Thing That Stepped Through. The doorway did not shimmer. It darkened. The light inside her chest pulsed one slow warning. The air grew heavy, sick like a storm waiting to break. She felt it before she saw it. Something was coming through. Not rushing, not attacking, emerging. A shadow pressed against the edge of the doorway, stretching the frame as if reality itself resisted its shape. The golden symbols beneath her feet flickered. The sky fell silent. Then it stepped through. It looked like her, but unfinished, its edges blurred like smoke trying to remember how to be solid. Its eyes held no light, only depth. Not evil, not rage. Emptiness. "You left me behind," it said, voice echoing inside her bones. She didn't move. "I am every doubt you buried, every fear you renamed strength, every wound you called wisdom." The light in her chest flared, instinctively pushing back. The shadow recoiled slightly but did not disappear. "You cannot awaken by abandoning me," it whispered. The truth struck harder than any threat. This was not an enemy. This was the last fragment. The part of her that learned to survive by shrinking. The voice that said, "Don't try," so she wouldn't be hurt. The silence that kept her safe when the world was loud. The doorway trembled behind it, unstable. If she rejected it, the fracture would reopen. If she accepted it, she would have to feel everything. Slowly, she stood. "I didn't leave you," she said, her voice steady. "I outgrew the cage you built for us." The shadows' form flickered. "And you don't need to guard me anymore." For a moment, nothing moved. Then she stepped forward. Not to fight, to embrace. When her arms closed around the shadow, it did not burn. It did not resist. It dissolved like ink in water into her skin. Pain came first. Sharp, deep, honest, then peace. The doorway behind her stabilized, no longer dark but silver, clear, steady, waiting. She inhaled. This time, nothing stepped through before her. She walked forward, and the world did not swallow her. It expanded. Chapter 9. The world that knew. The moment her foot crossed the doorway, the air changed. It wasn't heavier. It wasn't lighter. It was aware. The ground beneath her was no longer glass or stormlit earth. It was living terrain, soft, luminous, threaded with quiet veins of silver light. Each step she took sent a ripple outward, as if the world was adjusting to her presence, or welcoming it. The sky above was vast and open, painted in deep indigo and soft gold. Constellations shimmered, but they were shifting, ferns rearranging, forming. She looked up slowly. They were spelling something, not in letters, in memory. Moments from her life flickered between the stars. The times she chose courage without knowing. The times she endured when she thought she was breaking. The silent battles no one saw. The sky remembered. A warmth spread through her, not overwhelming, not explosive, steady, grounded, real. "You're late," a voice said gently. She turned. A figure stood in the distance, not glowing, not shadowed, balanced. Their presence felt ancient, but not distant. "Late?" she asked. The figure smiled softly. "You were meant to arrive the moment you stopped running." She understood. This world wasn't new. It had always existed, just beyond the barrier of her fear. The figure stepped aside, revealing a vast horizon. Cities made of light and thought, rivers that flowed upward, trees whose leaves hummed with quiet energy. None of it intimidated her, because none of it felt above her. It felt aligned. "What is this place?" she whispered. The answer came not from the figure, but from the ground, the sky, the air itself. "This is the life that responds when you do?" Her chest pulsed once more, not brightly, not urgently. Naturally, the constellations above settled into stillness. For the first time, she did not feel split, not divided, not becoming. She felt whole. And somewhere, beyond the horizon, something greater stirred, not as a threat, as the next invitation. Chapter 10. The test of staying. The horizon darkened, not with fear, with gravity. The luminous city in the distance flickered, not fading, but watching. The rivers that flowed upward slowed. Even the silver veins beneath her feet pulsed more slowly, as if the world itself had entered a state of evaluation. The balanced figure beside her grew still. "It's time," they said softly. "For what?" she asked. "To see if you can stay." A low vibration rolled across the sky. The constellations above began to blur, dissolving into fog. The warmth in her chest wavered for the first time. Since she stepped through the doorway, doubt returned. Quiet, subtle. What if this isn't real? What if you fall back? What if you're still the girl who hides? The ground beneath her shifted, and suddenly she was standing alone. No city, no figure, no silver light, just an empty landscape. And a mirror, not cracked, not glowing, plain, ordinary. It showed her exactly as she was now. No aura, no cosmic light, no symbols in the sky. Just her, breathing, human, tired. The test was not about power. It was about identity. Could she choose herself without magic? Without validation? Without the world reacting? The doubt grew louder. "You don't belong here," it whispered from nowhere and everywhere. Her heart pounded, but she did not look away from the mirror. "I belong wherever I choose to stand," she said quietly. The reflection did not change. That was the point. She stepped closer. "I don't need to glow to be worthy. I don't need to transform to stay. I am allowed to exist as I am." Silence. Then, the ground steadied. The sky slowly returned. The mirror dissolved like mist. and the world breathed out in approval. The city of light reappeared in the distance. Brighter, but not because she earned it, because she didn't chase it. The balanced figure returned beside her. "You can stay," they said. And this time, she believed it, not because the world confirmed her, but because she confirmed herself. Chapter 11. The life that waited. The world did not rush her. It unfolded, step by step, breath by breath. The luminous horizon drew closer, not because she chased it, but because she no longer resisted where she stood. The city of light wasn't loud or overwhelming. It was familiar. As she entered, the air shifted gently, like a memory recognizing its owner. Structures rose around her, not built of stone, but of intention. Soft, glowing forms shaped by choices, by courage, by truth once denied and now reclaimed. "This place," she whispered. "You built it," the balanced figure said. She turned, confusion flickering. "I've never been here." "You've always been here," they corrected softly. "Just not consciously." Her chest tightened. "This is the life that formed every time you chose yourself. Even in the smallest ways. Every quiet no, every moment you held on, every time you felt fear and didn't disappear." The ground beneath her feet glowed brighter, responding to her understanding. "But I didn't always choose myself," she said, voice fragile. "No," the figure nodded, "but you never fully abandoned yourself either. And that is why this world waited." The words settled deep. Waited, not judged, not closed, not taken away. Waited. She looked around again, really looked this time. The flowing rivers, the breathing light, the stillness that felt alive. None of it demanded anything from her. It reflected her. "Will it disappear if I leave?" she asked quietly. The figure smiled, not distant, not mysterious, but certain. "This world doesn't exist somewhere else," they said. "It exists when you do." A soft wind moved through the city, brushing against her skin like reassurance. And suddenly, she understood. This wasn't an escape. This wasn't a reward. This was alignment. The life she thought she had to find had been forming inside her all along, waiting for her to arrive. Not as someone new, but as someone true? Her eyes softened, no longer searching. "I think," she whispered. "I'm ready." The world didn't react. It didn't need to, because this time, she wasn't asking for permission. Chapter 12, The Return begins. The world began to fade. Not suddenly, gently, like a dream that didn't want to end. The city of light softened at the edges, its glow dimming into something quieter, more distant. The air thinned, the warmth in her chest flickering, not disappearing, but changing, becoming something she could carry. "You feel it," the balanced figure said. She nodded slowly. "I'm leaving." "Not leaving," they corrected.
"Returning?"
Her chest tightened. For the first time since she arrived, fear returned, not the old fear, not the one that made her shrink, but something deeper. What if she forgot? What if the world outside pulled her back into silence? What if she became that version again? As if hearing her thoughts, the figure stepped closer. "You're afraid this will disappear?" She didn't answer. "You think this place exists somewhere you can lose?" The truth of that stung. The figure's voice softened. "But this world was never around you. It was within you. And now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it." The ground beneath her glowed one last time. A quiet reassurance. "Will I come back?" she asked. A small smile. "You don't need to come back," they said. "You need to be." The light around her began to dissolve into soft fragments, drifting like glowing dust into the air. The city, the sky, the silence, it all folded inward. Not vanishing, but returning to her. Her chest pulsed, steady, alive. "Go!" the figure whispered. She closed her eyes, and for the first time, she didn't hold on. She let go. Chapter 13, The Weight of Reality. She woke up gasping. The ceiling above her was familiar. Still, silent, real. No glowing sky, no silver light, no doorway, just her room. Her chest rose and fell quickly, as if her body hadn't caught up with where she was. The air felt heavier here, thicker, grounded, almost too quiet after everything she had just felt. For a moment, she didn't move, afraid it would all slip away. Slowly, she placed a hand over her chest. There, still there, not bright, not overwhelming, but steady, alive. She sat up, the world around her unchanged, same walls, same space, same life waiting for her to step back into it. But something inside her refused to feel the same. It was subtle, but undeniable. She looked around her room, really looked this time. The small details she used to ignore the quiet corners. The soft light through the window. The stillness that once felt empty. Now it felt honest. But as she stood, something else crept in. Doubt. Not loud, not overwhelming, just a whisper. Was it real? Or just a dream you wanted to believe in? Her chest tightened slightly. The warmth flickered. For a second, she almost reached for her old habits to dismiss it, to shrink, to move on as if nothing had changed. Almost. But she didn't. Instead, she took a slow breath, then another. I felt it, she said quietly to herself. That's enough. The doubt didn't disappear, but it didn't take over either. She walked to the mirror in her room, not floating, not glowing, just ordinary. Her reflection stared back tired eyes, soft expression, a trace of something new beneath it all. Not confidence, not yet, but awareness. She didn't look away. I'm still here, she whispered, and this time, she believed it just a little more. Outside her room, the world waited, unchanged, but she wasn't. And for the first time, that scared her and excited her at the same time. Chapter 14. Old patterns, new eyes. The world hadn't changed. That was the first thing she noticed. Morning came, the same way-light slipping quietly through the window, the distant hum of life moving on without asking if she was ready. The sounds, the rhythm, the expectations, all exactly as they had always been. But she wasn't. She stepped into her day carefully, like someone learning how to walk in a place she had lived in her whole life. At work, the same voices filled the room, conversations layered over each other, familiar and predictable. She took her usual seat, her hands resting lightly in her lap, and then it happened. A moment she knew too well. A question was asked. Silence followed. Her thoughts formed instantly clear, sharp, ready. The answer sat right there, waiting. Her chest tightened. The old instinct rose like muscle memory. Stay quiet. Let someone else speak. It's easier that way. She felt it fully this time. Not just the thought, but the weight behind it. The years of choosing silence. The quiet, shrinking. The safety that never really felt safe. Her fingers curled slightly. This was it. Not a dream. Not a glowing world. A simple moment. A real choice. Her heart began to race not from fear alone, but from awareness. She could feel both paths at once, the familiar one and the new one. The room waited, and for once, so did she. Not frozen, not afraid, just aware. Then softly, almost unexpectedly, she spoke. Her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. The words left her lips and settled into the room. No one reacted dramatically. No sudden shift. No applause. Just a pause. Then the conversation continued, but something inside her had changed. She hadn't disappeared. She sat there, her heart still beating fast, her breath uneven, but her chest felt lighter. Not because the world changed, because she did. Later, as she caught her reflection in a passing surface, she paused. Same face, same eyes. But something deeper had shifted. She didn't look smaller anymore, and for the first time, she didn't look away. Chapter 15, the first real choice. It didn't happen in a quiet moment. It happened when it mattered. The air felt heavier that day. Not because anything had changed, but because she could feel everything now. Every word, every tone, every unspoken expectation. And then it came. A request. Simple on the surface, but she knew what it carried. Can you just handle it? It's easier if you do. The words were casual, familiar, almost harmless, but she felt it. The weight. Quiet pressure to say yes, to take more than she could hold, to choose peace over truth again. Her chest tightened. The old version of her didn't hesitate. She would have smiled, nodded, said it's okay. Even if it wasn't, the answer was already forming on her lips. Yes, but something stopped her. Not fear, not doubt, awareness. It rose slowly, steady and clear. The memory of the mirror, the voice that said, "Stop abandoning yourself," the feeling of finally being whole. Her hands trembled slightly. This wasn't like speaking up once. This had consequence. This could change how people saw her, how they treated her, what they expected next time. The room waited. And inside here, two versions stood again. One familiar, one new. The familiar one whispered, "Don't make this harder. Just agree." The new one didn't whisper. It simply stood. Steady, quiet, certain. Her breath slowed. She looked up, and for the first time, she didn't search for approval. "I can't take that on right now," she said softly. Silence. Not dramatic, not loud, but real. A small shift in the air. A flicker of surprise. A pause that stretched, just long enough to feel uncomfortable. Her heart pounded, but she didn't take it back. She didn't explain. She didn't shrink. She stayed, and slowly the moment passed. Someone else spoke. The conversation moved on. The world didn't break, but something inside her opened. It wasn't loud. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was undeniable. She had chosen herself. Not in a dream. Not in a perfect world. Here, where it mattered. And for the first time, it felt right. Chapter 16. The breaking point. Growth did not arrive gently. It came quietly at first, through tension in conversations, through the discomfort of being seen differently, through the strange loneliness that followed every boundary she finally placed. People noticed. Not everyone liked it. "You've changed." The words were simple, casual, but they landed heavily. She stood there in silence, feeling old instincts claw their way back to the surface. The urge to apologize, to soften herself, to become easier to hold again. For one dangerous moment, she almost did. The room suddenly felt too small, too familiar. Every old fear returned at once. What if choosing yourself means losing people? What if becoming whole leaves you alone? Her chest tightened, painfully. That night, the mirror returned. Not in a dream, in reality. She stood in her dark room, frozen as the surface of the mirror rippled softly like water. No glowing world, no cosmic light, just her reflection, tired, hurt, human. "You thought awakening would remove the pain?" The reflection whispered gently. Tears burned her eyes. "I thought it would make me stronger." "It did. Then why does this RT so MUC?" The reflection stepped closer inside the glass. "Because you are grieving." She frowned slightly. "Grieving what?" "The version of you that survived by disappearing." Silence filled the room, and suddenly she understood. Healing was not becoming someone else. It was letting an old self rest. The people pleaser, the fearful girl, the version who believed love had to be earned through sacrifice. She had carried that version for so long, that pudding, Her down felt like betrayal. Tears finally spilled over. Not dramatic, not uncontrollable, just honest. "I don't hate her," she whispered. The reflection smiled softly. "You were never supposed to." The mirror slowly became still again, and for the first time, she cried without trying to stop herself. Not because she was broken, but because she was finally allowing herself to heal. Chapter 17. The Quiet Power. Something about her became quieter after that night. Not smaller, just still. The kind of stillness that no longer begged to be understood. Days passed differently now. She no longer rehearsed every conversation in her mind. She no longer carried the exhausting weight of trying to keep everyone comfortable at the cost of herself. And strangely, the world kept moving. People still laughed. Morning still arrived. The sky did not collapse because she finally chose honesty. That realization changed something deep inside her. She stopped explaining herself so much, stopped apologizing for needing space, stopped shrinking her feelings into softer, shaped so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable, not out of anger, out of peace. One evening, she sat alone near the window while rain traced soft patterns across the glass. In the past, loneliness used to feel sharp, like proof that something inside her was missing. Now it felt different, not empty, sacred. For the first time in her life, her own presence felt safe. The thought almost made her cry. A message lit up her phone. Someone asking for more than she could give. Once, she would have answered immediately. Even while exhausted, even while drowning, she would have convinced herself that love meant constant availability. But now, she simply looked at the message, breathed, and chose truth. "I can't carry this for you tonight." Her finger hovered before sending it. A familiar fear rose briefly. What if they leave? But another voice answered calmly from somewhere deeper. What stays after honesty is meant to stay. She pressed send, then waited. Not anxiously, not desperately, just calmly. The rain continued falling outside, soft and endless. The room glowed gently in the dim evening light, and in the quiet, she noticed something beautiful. The mirror across the room reflected her exactly as she was. No cracks, no shifting forms, no other version waiting inside. Only her, and somehow that was enough now. Chapter 18, The Shift. Others notice. People began speaking to her differently. Not everyone, but enough for her to feel it. Some became softer around her, as if her calmness invited honesty. Others grew uncomfortable, unsettled by the quiet confidence she no longer tried to hide. It was strange. She hadn't become louder, hadn't demanded attention, hadn't transformed into someone unrecognizable. She had simply stopped abandoning herself, and somehow that changed everything. "You seem different lately." She heard it often now. At first, she didn't know how to answer. The truth felt too large to explain. How could she tell them she had walked through mirrors, faced the versions of herself she buried, and returned carrying a piece she once thought belonged only to other people? So she usually just smiled gently. Maybe because the real answer wasn't something that could be spoken. It had to be felt. One afternoon, someone interrupted her while she was speaking. Before, she would have immediately gone quiet, letting her words disappear unfinished. This time, she paused, then calmly continued what she was saying. No anger, no apology, just presence. The room listened, and in that tiny moment, she realized how much of her life had been spent asking permission to exist. Never again. Later that evening, she passed a mirror in a store window and caught her reflection by accident. She stopped walking. The woman staring back at her looked but lighter somehow. Not because life had become easy, not because all fear had vanished, but because she was no longer fighting herself. The realization hit quietly. She used to search endlessly for signs that she was healing, some dramatic transformation, some undeniable proof. But healing had arrived softly, in boundaries, in honesty, in staying present instead of disappearing. The old version of her would not even recognize this piece, and yet, that old version had led her here. Her chest tightened with sudden gratitude, not shame, not regret. Gratitude, because every broken piece of her had carried her toward this becoming. The evening wind brushed gently against her skin as she continued walking. For the first time in years, she felt aligned with her own life, and somewhere deep inside, something whispered softly, "You're finally becoming the person you needed all along." Chapter 19. The mirror returns. It happened on an ordinary night. No storm, no glowing sky, no trembling world. She was simply standing in her room, exhausted after a long day, when she noticed it. The mirror. Its surface shimmered softly. Her breath caught. For a moment, old fear flickered inside her chest. Not because she feared the mirror anymore, but because she knew this meant something was ending. Slowly, she stepped closer. The glass moved like still water touched by moonlight. Then, little by little, another version of her appeared. The woman from before, the one who stood taller, calmer, untouched by fear. Except now, she looked different. Not distant, not separate, familiar. The space between them no longer felt infinite. It felt thin as breath. Neither of them spoke at first. They simply looked at each other, and suddenly, tears filled her eyes, because she understood now. This version was never someone she had to become. She'd always been her, buried beneath fear, hidden beneath survival, waiting beneath silence. "You came back," she whispered softly. The reflection smiled gently. "I never left." The words broke something open inside her, not painfully but tenderly, like the final knot loosening after being held too tightly for too long. She stepped closer to the mirror. "So what happens now?" she asked. The reflection lifted her hand slowly, placing it against the glass, and this time, there were no cracks. "No more chasing," the reflection whispered. "No more searching for permission to exist." Her own hand rose instinctively until her palm met the mirror. Warmth spread softly through her skin. "You spent your whole life trying to escape pain." The reflection continued gently. But healing was never escape. The tears fell freely now. It was returning to yourself. The room became very still. Then the reflection smiled one last time. Not sadly, not mysteriously, but proudly. And slowly, she began to fade. Not disappearing, merging. The mirror cleared until only one woman remained standing there. Home. Real. Enough. She stared at her own reflection for a long moment. Then, softly, she smiled. Not the practiced smile, not the survival smile. A real one, and for the first time in her life, she recognized herself. Chapter 20. The version she became. Life did not suddenly become perfect. There were still difficult mornings, still moments of doubt, still days when the world felt too heavy and old fears brushed against her ribs like ghosts trying to be remembered, but they no longer owned her. That was the difference. She walked through life differently now, not with arrogance, not with hardness, but with presence. She no longer abandoned herself to keep peace, no longer twisted herself into smaller shapes, just to fit inside other people's comfort. And slowly, quietly, life responded. The sunrise felt warmer. Her laughter sounded real. Even silence no longer frightened her. Because silence no longer meant emptiness, it meant home. One evening, she stood by her window as golden light spilled across the sky. The city moved endlessly below her, people rushing, searching, surviving the same way she once had. For a moment, her chest ached gently for the girl she used to be. The girl who thought love had to be earned. The girl who stayed silent to avoid being left behind. the girl who spent years trying to escape herself. "I'm sorry," she whispered softly, not with shame, with compassion. And somewhere deep inside, she felt it, forgiveness. The wind moved gently through the room, brushing against her skin like a quiet blessing. Her gaze drifted toward the mirror nearby. It reflected only her now. No glowing versions, no fractured glass, no doorway waiting to open, because there was nothing left to chase. The version she once searched for, the version she feared, the version she couldn't escape had become her. Not through magic, not through perfection, but through every painful, honest choice to remain, to speak, to feel, to stay. A small smile touched her lips. Real, soft, free. And as the last light of evening wrapped around her like gold, one final truth settled quietly into her soul. You do not find yourself by becoming someone new. You find yourself by finally refusing to leave who you already are. And for the first time, she was no longer searching for the woman in the mirror. She was living as her. The end. Some souls spend their entire lives searching for a doorway, never realizing they were the doorway all along. If this story touched something deep inside you, then maybe it was never just a story. Maybe it was a reflection, a reminder, a quiet awakening for the parts of you that became too tired to keep pretending you were okay. Healing is not becoming perfect. Awakening is not becoming untouchable. And strength is not the absence of pain. True awakening begins the moment you stop abandoning yourself to survive. The world teaches us to become smaller, to stay quiet, to accept less, to carry wounds gracefully so nobody feels uncomfortable, but your soul was never created to live imprisoned inside fear. You were not born merely to survive your life. You were born to feel it, to exist fully within it, to speak without apologizing for your truth, to stand in your own presence without needing permission. And maybe the most spiritual thing you will ever do is return to yourself. Not the wounded version, not the masked version, not the version shaped entirely by pain, but the truest version, the one that still exists beneath every heartbreak, every silence, every moment you thought you were not enough, because you were never too broken to heal. You were only waiting to remember who you already were. So, if you are standing in front of your own invisible mirror right now, this is your sign. Stop running from yourself. The person you are searching for has been waiting inside you all along. W.B.S. Written by Lady I.J.